Hello and welcome to today's concert as part of the Worcester Festival 2020. Thank you to Stallard, March and Edwards Solicitors for sponsoring this event. This recital is going to explore music that gives rise to thoughts about fate, destiny and/or luck. The first piece in the programme gave rise to the title of the concert, O Fortuna, the most famous movement from Carl Orff's choral work, Carmina Burana. Fortuna is the Roman goddess of chance, luck or fate. Who knows what she will bring? It may be good or it may be bad. Earlier this summer, we lost one of the most prolific composers of film music, Ennio Morricone. He wrote over 400 scores for film and TV, as well as over 100 classical works for the concert hall. His score for The Good, the Bad and the Ugly is considered to be one of the most influential soundtracks in cinematic history. The plot of this spaghetti western is set amid the American Civil War and revolves around three gunslingers competing to find a fortune buried in a mine. The next piece has also been used in films many times. It is the Bach Toccata and Fugue, and it was used even before the era of the sound film, and was used first in a sound film in 1931 for the Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. It has become a bit of a cliche now as an illustration of horror and villainy. The next piece was composed in 2008 by Victoria Bossarova-Ollis and is called Breeze. It is very evocative of the swells of breeze. Sometimes it's gentle, sometimes it's forceful, but it's often changing direction. I chose this piece to represent the idea of winds of change and forces that have the power to change. The next piece, I am sure, will be familiar to all of you. I discovered that it was actually rehearsed and recorded not far from Worcester. In 1975, the band Queen apparently rehearsed in Herefordshire for 3 weeks before recording Bohemian Rhapsody in studios in Monmouth. The meaning of the words have always been debated, but Freddie Mercury himself said, "I think people should just listen to it, think about it, and then make up their own minds." For me, the lyrics, such as, "Is this the real life? Is this just fantasy? Caught in a landslide, no escape from reality?" And a bit later on, when it goes, "Any way the wind blows doesn't really matter to me," they suggest that it is someone who feels life is predestined and that fate dictates what will happen. I have to admit that I really wish I had a drummer with me here today. But this is an arrangement for solo violin, so I'm going to have to rely on you all to play air drums and air guitar. Also, feel free to headbang along too. I hope you enjoyed that and joined in with the air drums and the headbanging. We are nearing the end of today's concert, but I didn't really feel that a concert thinking about fate and destiny would really be complete without something from Verdi's opera La Forza del Destino. I have to admit that even for an opera, this is particularly depressing. The plot is quite complex, but basically, Don Alvaro, a young nobleman from South America, falls in love with Leonora, daughter of the Marquis of Calatrava, who is vehemently against the union. Alvaro accidentally shoots the Marquis, who, as he dies, curses his daughter. After many trials along the way, Leonora takes refuge living in a hermitage. Meanwhile, Alvaro joins the army and becomes friendly with Don Carlo, unaware that he is actually Leonora's brother. When they each become aware of each other's identities, Don Carlo is determined to avenge his father's death. Again, following various plot twists, Alvaro fatally wounds Don Carlo in a fight which just happens to take place near Leonora's hermitage. Alvaro calls out for help and Leonora arrives. They recognise each other, of course. After being told that the wounded man is her brother, she goes to tend to him. But Don Carlo, wanting to avenge his father's death, stabs her in the heart and she dies. Now, in the first version of the opera, Alvaro, overcome with guilt for killing or having caused the death of all of the Calatrava family, throws himself off a cliff. I did warn you that it was rather depressing. Luckily, however, Verdi made several revisions of the opera after its premiere, and in 1869, the version that we are familiar with today was premiered. One of the most important changes was to the final act, in which Alvaro remains alive instead of throwing himself off a cliff. I'm going to play for you a selection of themes from the overture of the opera. I'm sure you will recognise the middle section as the theme used in the Stella Artois adverts that ran on the TV from 1991 to 2001. I do apologise. Technology is great when it works. I could not leave you on that rather depressing note of La Forza del Destino. So I'm going to finish with a piece that has a much more optimistic outlook on life, fate and destiny. The piece is by Elton John and was written and used as the opening song for the 1994 film The Lion King. I love the sentiment of the lyrics, which I'm going to read to you just in case you don't know them. From the day we arrive on the planet and blinking step into the sun, there's more to be seen than can ever be seen, more to do than can ever be done. Some say eat and be eaten. Some say live and let live. But all are agreed as they join the stampede. You should never take more than you give. Some of us fall by the wayside, and some of us soar to the stars, and some of us sail through our troubles, and some have to live with the scars. There's far too much to take in here, more to find than can ever be found. But the sun rolling high through the sapphire sky keeps great and small on the endless round. In the circle of life, it's the wheel of fortune, it's the leap of faith, it's the band of hope, till we find our place on the path unwinding, in the circle of life. So to finish with, of course, it is the song Circle of Life. Thank you for listening to the concert today. I hope you've enjoyed the choice of music. My thanks go to the Worcester Festival for providing the opportunity to perform for you, and a big thanks to Stallard, March and Edwards Solicitors for sponsoring the concert. I hope you all keep well and hope to see you again soon. Bye.